So, why nobody obtains enlightenment? And the secret answer that quickly gets you to enlightenment permanently. And I'm going to back this up with scientific studies and evidence that proves everything I'm saying is true, along with additional facts that also confirm everything is true. So, stay with me. So, let me get right to the answer why nobody obtains enlightenment. It is two parts. First, we all have many, many false beliefs, and these false beliefs prevent us from accessing our unconditional love. And unconditional love absolutely is the answer. And let me give proof right now that you have false beliefs. Specifically, we all have one specific false belief that we all have with certainty. And let me first define what a false belief is. First, let me define what a false belief is. Then I'm going to give an example of a false belief that we all have practiced and are living all the time. And then I'm going to get into the scientific data and then also the answer very quickly. So stay with me. So a false belief is a belief that you hold that is based in fear or doubt regarding some aspect of yourself. And that false belief in fear or doubt about yourself then is blocking and preventing you from accessing your unconditional love on that specific topic of whatever the false belief happens to be. And because we have so many false beliefs, we essentially are blocking nearly all access to our unconditional love. It is absolutely true. So let me give the example that we all have lived and experienced. We all have had a moment in our lives, and probably many, where somebody has said something negative. They criticized us. They said something extremely negative that we felt was extremely negative towards us. And we all have had the experience that we felt hurt, angry, upset, and or any other number of negative emotions during that experience. And that is because we all have a false belief that our well-being, which is joy, happiness, inner peace, and maintaining that is dependent on external circumstances, including how people treat us. And that is absolutely a false belief. And the absolute truth is from unconditional love. And the absolute truth is that as we learn to love ourselves and have that loving connection within us, that we know we are amazing and loving and great, that we are no longer dependent on what anyone else says or does towards us or any other external circumstance or outcome as well. It is absolutely true. And I'm going to back it up with scientific evidence in a second. So stay with me. And that is why we haven't learned to live in unconditional love, because we can't access it in order to practice it because of all these false beliefs. Once we learn how to access, first by identifying that key false belief, and then by identifying the absolute truth from unconditional love, that my joy and maintaining my inner peace and joy and happiness in every moment is only dependent on my connection with myself and continuing my conscious connection with my inner self, my love within myself in every moment. And then I truly begin feeling and experiencing peace and joy and happiness all the time. And what is critical and what took me 30 years to understand is that we must identify the complete false belief. And then we can identify the complete specific answer, which is an absolute truth coming from unconditional love. It's like a key in a lock. If we only identify part of the false belief, or in this case, I had two false beliefs. I had an additional one, and I only identified the first one that I gave in the example just now. And so it was like having a key that was only halfway made. It was not unlocking the lock. And the lock is the false belief. It's preventing you from opening the door to access your unconditional love. It is absolutely that true. And so I literally could not figure that out for another couple decades. But the process is very simple as far as learning how to identify each false belief, many of which are down in our subconsciousness because we developed them as children. For me, I had many false beliefs as a child, and I began pushing them down, suppressing them, because I didn't want to experience the pain of those emotions and feelings. So I pushed them down, and by the time I was an adult, I wasn't even consciously aware that I had those beliefs or that those beliefs were still there, but they were still creating the negative emotions and feelings. I just didn't know why that I was feeling those negative feelings and why it kept coming up in all kinds of similar situations throughout my life. And I didn't know how to remove them because I wasn't aware of how to identify those false beliefs. And I want to give you scientific data right now that confirms all of this. And these studies were performed by the Heart Math Institute. The director is a Dr. McCarty. The Heart Math Institute has collaborated with Stanford University, as well as the United States Department of Defense and many other institutions, all of whom have collaborated specifically on the topic of the heart-mind connection. And so that's what these studies were on. The subjects were asked to practice loving kindness within themselves for several minutes every day for a certain period of weeks and months. And what they determined through the study was that people that were suffering from stress, anxiety, depression, and a multitude of other issues, that these cleared and went away. It was not 100%, of course. And the reason is because they left it up to the subjects, the individuals, all the people that were being studied to use their own understanding of love as they practiced loving kindness with themselves every day. And because I confirmed that we are all conditional with our love, they were literally having a very limited access to their love. And even then, they had tremendous, amazing benefits. Depressions went away, anxiety, stress went away on many of the people in this study. And many people actually began experiencing joy and bliss even. It would have been 100% success if they had understood in the study how to identify false beliefs and understanding that you need to access and practice unconditional love. And the only way to do that is to identify every false belief, which is preventing you from accessing that unconditional love, and then identifying the answer from unconditional love for the absolute truth that is specific to each false belief, which literally does remove it right away. And you simply need to practice for 10, 15 minutes a day because you are retraining your consciousness and your subconsciousness and removing that permanently. And it typically takes about 20, 30 days of practice for it to be gone permanently. And I can tell you that the processes that I have developed absolutely will have you living in unconditional love nearly all the time within the end of 6 days. And simply, it is a matter of clearing out some remaining false beliefs over the next few weeks, as well as practicing deeper and deeper unconditional love within yourself every day. And literally by 30 days, you certainly are living that all the time. It is that true. The first scientific study conducted by the Heart Math Institute is titled McCarty et al. 1996. And then the second study is McCarty et al. 1998. And you can look those up and review the evidence that I have spoken about here. And the only reason all or any study is not 100% is simply because they don't understand how to identify all false beliefs, and really not even that false beliefs are blocking us from accessing our unconditional love, which is the answer for everything. Joy, bliss, happiness, and everything else. And when you're living that, literally, it is a certainty the universe is going to reflect back to you only what you are sending out, which is inner peace and joy and bliss in every moment. You no longer are attached to specific outcomes. Certainly, it's wonderful to intend to create a successful company or a job that you desire, to obtain that, to obtain a financial freedom and independence, to attract the amazing spouse that you want in your life, and many other things. Those are all wonderful and important things. And you will attract them and create those things in your life simply by living in this unconditional love. It is a certainty, and it will be effortless for the first time because you will not be dependent on outcomes. You will know and trust that they're going to come, and it might not be the way you intended or thought it would be, and it doesn't matter because you're experiencing the joy now. You're not waiting to experience the joy once you accomplish whatever the goal or outcome is. And that is true freedom of your mind and consciousness. That is the ultimate freedom, I promise you. And so, if you have a deep desire to want to live in joy and bliss, to be living your passions, to be in complete inner peace in every moment, to have fulfillment and meaning and purpose in your life in every moment, if this is a deep desire for you, I have created two amazing courses. I believe they are the most amazing courses on this planet. One is an 8-week course, and it is completely immersive, and it is going to get you living in this joy and bliss and inner peace and fulfillment, meaning in every moment. Literally, you will be living that most of the time after the first 6 days. You'll begin connecting to optimal answers in every situation in your life, and it is that amazing. And so it's 3 hours a day, each day for 6 days of the first week, and then each of the following 7 weeks, we're going in and spending about 3 to 4 hours a week on live Zoom calls. And we're going through much deeper unconditional love and also clearing out for a week or two more the false beliefs. And then we're going into things like intuition, becoming a knowing, and check out that video. The other course is a year long, 12 months, and it's even more immersive. This is for someone who has the financial means and the time to go as deep as they possibly can, and they have the desire to want to live in the fullness, to the depths that they possibly can, as quick as they can. And so the first 6 days are actually live in person with me in a small group, and we are removing all of your false beliefs and going deeper into your unconditional love. And then each of the remaining 11 months, I am spending 5 days with you in person, each of those remaining 11 months. And then all of the other weeks where we're not together in person, I am providing live Zoom calls with you and the small group. Each week is a new topic, and we're going deeper into the unconditional love. You're going much further and much deeper into the knowing, where intuition truly becomes a knowing. But even with the 8-week program, you will be making optimal answers, but there is no limit, upper limit on this knowing, and it really can help you in many, many different ways, seeing the future even, and understanding what is the optimal answer for topics, understanding topics that maybe because of a false belief you felt you couldn't understand, calculus or high-level physics or anything else. And by removing those false beliefs, you're knowing you will truly be able to understand and grasp concepts and understand everything that you focus on, that you desire and have a passion to want to learn. And you will even be able to take that even further by even developing new understandings that are not even yet on this planet. It is truly that. So if you're interested in signing up for one of those two courses, I put my email address, email, and then I can send you the information. We can set up a Zoom call, discuss either of those courses further. So please check out the description section of this video and any other video in my YouTube channel. It will have my email address in the description section. You can communicate with me, and then just put your first name and simply what you're inquiring about, and if you would like to set up a Zoom call, and then we'll go from there. I send you love, peace, and joy. Have a great day.